Hello, and welcome to episode 40 of Moms with Yarn. I'm Sharon, known as Bronx Knitter One on Ravelry, and I have a Ravelry group which I share with Tracy, who's not here, called Moms with Yarn. And I am Bronx Knitter on Instagram. Welcome. Today is Sunday, April 3rd. Where has the time gone? I do not know. But it's so windy outside today. This morning I had to get up, get dressed, because I thought something hit my house. And I just hoped it wasn't a flying tree because it was so loud and the house shook. And then I went outside and had a look around. The wind almost blew my head off. And we're having 50-mile-an-hour winds around here. The sun is shining, and if you're standing inside your house with the heat on, it feels like spring. It's so bright outside. And then I went outside, nothing hit the house. Something must have hit somebody's house because it was really loud. But the winds are up to 50 miles an hour, which is crazy. I think we had this once before. But this time, oh my gosh, it just sounds really bad. Anyway, let's get on with let's do what we got to do here. I needed to have some time alone to record with my son not in the house because he has a way of interrupting me all the time. So I asked him to take out the trash, and if you've ever sat on knit night and asking my son to take out the trash is the same thing as asking him to go away, but nicely. Because when he has to go away, when he has to take out the trash, he just disappears on his own. So inside my little Delicue bag, I was storing the preemie caps. Remembering Remy is still going on. It started in February. It ends on May 29th. All you have to do is make some preemie caps, post your pictures in the Ravelry group, and by random number draw, Tracy will pick the winners. The prizes are posted in the room. And I don't know what I had before, but I'm going to show everything so I don't have to show them again. I can just mail this package to Tracy. This is the Lion Brand ice cream. It's a gradient, as you can see. It's soft. It's a little bit on the pricey side for stuff that they sell in Lion Brand. But, and this hat is really big. But I don't care because some baby will still be able to wear it. And that's the whole point. So there's hat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is a baby worm hat. Whoop, whoop. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This was Mom's vodka lemonade. Coloring book yarns. Love these colors. I have another skein of this. I'm going to make myself a pair of socks. This pair went to one of the ladies in my knitting group named Carmen. She's enjoying them. I'm glad. And this is some midi duet, which I got, I don't know how long ago. But I had made the socks, all of the hats were made with the same pattern. And they all have the star cap, which I like much better than the one I was using, which was a star cap but with more stitches. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. I don't have the pattern because once I made the hat a couple of times, I didn't need it anymore. But this is it was a good pattern. It was on the last episode, the pattern was. I used US size 1 or US size 2, depending on the thickness of the yarn. So this hat I made with a size 2 needle. This hat I made with size 1. You can see the difference in size. It doesn't matter. There's a baby that will fit into both sizes of the hats. That's one thing down. Then, I needed a distraction other than making the preemie. Sorry about that. I shook the table. Other than making the preemie caps. So inside this lovely, lovely bag that Tracy made me, that's loaded down with cat hair, is my crochet hook. because I'd seen a woman on the train. She had a bunch of little 1-inch squares that she had 4 across, and then it just went around and around to make a scarf. So I figured I'm gonna make that because I was inspired. So I started making squares. Look at these colors. Are they not beautiful? This is the Flying Kettle. This is Maple Leaf Farms Boot Camp colorway, 100% BFL, which is too big for what I want to do, but I have a lot of it left, so I figured maybe I'll make the scarf. This is Lion Brand sock. It's just a basic granny square. All of them are the exact same pattern. But my favorite one is, I don't know if I can find it again. Here we go. I don't know what yarn this is. I'll find it because it's in my house. It's in my stash. Same yarn, same skein of yarn, but they make completely different squares. And if I was going to make a scarf that I wanted to be, you know, multicolored and interesting, this is my best bet. I made them continuously, so where I ended one, I started the other. Amazing that I found that. But this bag is half full of those. And I'm not nearly done yet, so we're going to see how far I get with this before I get bored. Because really, ultimately, I don't really want to be sewing these squares together. I might have to hire somebody to do that for me. The other thing I'm working on is, it's called Neri by Amanda Musha. I bought this at New England Fiber Festival, where I just missed Claire. She came to the fair as Claire's from New Hampshire Knits. She came to the fair just as I was leaving. She got there at 2. She was probably getting out of her car at 2. I was getting in my cab at 2. Just missed. I'm going to get you next time, Claire. I purchased this. You buy 2 skeins of yarn, you get the pattern for free. I saw the pattern on display and fell in love. And I made the purchases. New England Fiber Festival happened in October, November last year. I just opened up my package from there a couple of days ago. And I started this is the yarn. All of the yarn had no labels, and so I don't know the content. I don't know the yardage. This is like a navy blue with some light blue squeezed in. But I don't know what it is. But it is kind of like this superwash merino tencel yarn. This has the same sheen as this, the same feel. The twist is a little bit different, but I think that this is what this is. It's either got to be tencel, or bamboo. Those are the only things that I know of that make, besides silk, that make, and it's not silk. I know it's not silk. That make it have that sheen to it, which you can't see here, but it's there. The Neri pattern is so easy to remember and so much fun to do that I think if I was going to make it again, I would make it with this. She stressed, the woman in the shop that I don't know the name of, that you couldn't have a yarn that had a whole lot of spring and bounce to it because it would close up on itself, so not to use just straight wool. So everything was going fine until I picked this up to show the ladies on knit night and thought I could continue, and you'll see there's a mistake right there. Oh man. So I have to tink back a little bit, but I like that the picots are already on it, so I don't have to go back and pick up all these million stitches. And as you can see, you knit from point to point. And it is one of the weigh it type shawls where you do knit to a certain percentage of your yarn, which this was 3.75 ounces. You knit till you get to a certain point, and then you make your increases until you get to a certain point, and then you start your decreases, which will only determine the length of the shawl. But I'm not worried about that because this is pretty, and I do have another skein I can use if I need to make it bigger or make any other adjustments. But oh my goodness, this is going to be great with jeans, which I happen to be wearing today. I love the way it looks. I love the way the fabric feels. I love the drape. I'm using the cowls US size 6, which is a 4.0 millimeter. And really, if I put my mind to it, I could finish this in 2 or 3 days. But clearly, that'll be after I take back, which I'm not prepared to do yet. I'm a procrastinator. Now, let's see. The other thing so I had some Shepherd's Own wool and some Lion Brand ice cream left over. The Shepherd's wool was repurposed. I washed it, hung it to dry, and I decided I was going to use the one skein that I had to make myself a cowl. But brown is not an interesting color. I don't have any left. I used it all up. Brown is not an interesting color to make a shawl, a cowl with around my neck. So I decided to mix it with the ice cream to give it some interest. But I decided also to make a pattern. And so this is what I came up with. Everything was going fine. Everything was wonderful. But it's too wide, and because there was no yarn left of either color, I couldn't make the third row of flowers, which is what I wanted. So that was problem number one. Problem number two is I couldn't work out how to make the seam flower come out the right way. And problem number four is when you don't know math, you just keep knitting with whatever color you have in your hand at that time. So while it's too long to wear just alone, it's too short to double. So it's gonna have to work. Maybe if I put a button, I don't know. I'll think of something. I love the colors. I love the look. I love everything about it. Just that it's not, I can't double. It's either got to be longer or it's got to be a lot shorter. So I decided since I'm using repurposed, leftover, old stash, whatever, that I would try again and try to go for the 3 rows of flowers that I was looking for. So I found 2 skeins of Plymouth yarn Genie. It is it's 51% cotton, 49% acrylic in color number 6, but I'm sure it's been discontinued because this was donated to me several years ago. And inside one of my old knitting bags, I found this. I don't know what it is. I don't know what I ever used it for. I don't know the contents. I don't know what yardage it was. It was stored in plastic, so it's still white. And it's easy to see. I can still pull it without making a mess. So I decided to work on test knit number 2. I say test knit like if it's going to be a pattern. It's not. This is a one and done. And I started last night. And this is how far I got. So I have resolved the issue with the flower at the seam. The width is right. It'll crumple down and it will make a very good cowl when I get the third row of flowers. So the first row is done. I'm working on the second already. And I hope to have this done in a couple of days. And when I do, when it's done, if it's not time to podcast again, it'll be on Instagram because, you know, that's where everything goes. And by the way, you know, when they had this whole thing about Instagram changing how they post the photos, a lot of people ran over and signed up at a site called Ello, ELLO. So I went and signed myself up there. I didn't know what it was, or I still don't know how it works, but I am Bronx Knitter at Ello, if anybody's interested. I don't know how to find people, so if somebody finds me, I see who they're following, and then I click on all their contacts. Because I'm not tech savvy either. So math challenged and not tech savvy. Those are all of my bad qualities. But I have so many good ones. Like laughing at myself when I can't get it right the first 300 times. Anyhow, so that does it for episode 40 of Moms with Yarn. I hope everybody is having a very wonderful day. We're having 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts today. I went outside this morning because I thought I heard a thunk and the house shook, and I thought, oh my gosh, something blew off. We had some people in Brooklyn whose house got blown down. It collapsed from the wind. In New Jersey, somebody's windows actually blew out of their house. Like, how bad does the wind? Nobody had a tree fall on their car like what usually happens in a windstorm, but windows blown out and houses blown down. So this morning when I heard the thunk, I went outside. I walked all around the house. I didn't see anything that hit the house. All my doors and windows are still here. But when you go outside, it is not only freezing, but the wind can blow you across the street. So if you're experiencing the same thing, be careful out there. So that does it for episode 40. I will see you in 2 weeks. Until then, enjoy your knitting.